outstanding player in the G League and a college standout at UMKC and Miami. He's the face of this team, but it's Cameron Jackson ready to take the tip against Logan McLean for Showtime, and it's Showtime who wins the opening tip and sets up shop, working left to right. Here's the Showtime starting five presented by Air Force Reserve. Charles Mann is a player I know you're keeping your eyes on, Seth. He's got a Georgia background, and it's Showtime who opens the scoring here thanks to Jalen Nesbitt out of North Florida.
Jalen Nesbitt can flat score. And Showtime, they have no issues scoring offensively. We'll see what they can do defensively. But you look at this team, they are extremely confident. Good job of doubling the post right there.
And that turnover eventually is scooped up by Showtime. Laser with the feed right back, but it's taken away. So some turnovers on either end of the floor here. Julian Mavunga with the pump. McKinney Jones from the elbow, splash.
That's a big physical point guard out there. Mavunga's got kind of a funky game. He can pass it, he can shoot a little bit, he's got good size. This team has got good overall size. Fort Wayne is a team that can win this region. They have enough experience, enough size, enough toughness. Shot selection will be key.
This is a Fort Wayne champs team that advanced out of the Columbus Regional as the 6th seed last year. They knocked off the region in the opening round of TBT 2018. Then they knocked off Illinois BC to move to the Super 16 in Atlanta, where they lost to Jimmer Furdette's team 104-91. So a lot of experience on this Fort Wayne roster, both in and out of TBT. Rebound goes to big Logan McLean out of Miami of Ohio.
You see, loose ball, guys are first to the floor. They're trying to pick up and steal extra possessions. Keem Richmond, big-time three-point shooter out of East Carolina by way of Rhode Island. Made some big shots against me when they beat us for us to go to the NIT Championship in New York City.
Charles Mann Jr.
I like this Showtime team because Charles Mann Jr. has experience. He's got size. Richmond can score it. It's whether they can get stops and rebound the basketball. And then, look, the TBT, you've got really good players. And the thing people don't understand is these guys play all over the world at a very high level in competitive leagues. And one thing when you're playing overseas, Chris, it's not about potential. It's about productivity. So if you're playing overseas, you've got to be able to produce. And these guys have.
McLean in the post, guarded by Mavunga for Fort Wayne. And that one goes off glass.
That's Miami of Ohio crime right there. Two guys from Miami of Ohio, a couple of years apart.
And big Cameron Jackson hammers his way to the rim.
Cameron Jackson from Warford. Actually gave Kentucky a heck of a game in the NCAA tournament. Had a win against North Carolina. Cameron Jackson. One thing about him, he can rebound the ball and he can finish around the basket.
Well, so can Trey McKinney Jones. He goes to the foul line.
Let me ask you something, Chris. Trey McKinney Jones, he's like the adult in the room.
Yeah.
Never gets sped up, very, very poised. You got to remember, when these guys, some of them played in the G League, some of them played in the NBA, a lot of them played overseas. When you go overseas, you have to have a maturity about you. When you go overseas, it's a new culture, it's a new environment, it's a new language many times. And that experience, it's not for everyone. So when you got a guy like Trey McKinney Jones, he's going to have a little bit more poise, a little bit more maturity. And the best European players that play in this tournament really know how to play.
And you saw his winning share, $150,000. Winning share is brought to you by Zell. That is, if Fort Wayne goes all the way, wins this thing in Chicago in 3 weeks' time. The $2 million is broken down among the players, coaches, and even some boosters and fans that can get in on the fun, too.
Gotta love that. I can tell you right away, Cameron Jackson, he's going to be a very good player in the TBT because he knows exactly who he is. And, one thing about when you have these all-star type teams, guys got to play to their strengths. They got to do what they do well. And like Cameron Jackson, he understands, I'm going to rebound the ball, set screens, and get to the offensive glass. He's going to be very productive in this tournament.
5 quick points for Trey McKinney Jones. who played abroad in Japan this most recent season. And again, the impetus for this team, you've heard Seth talk about it, was the 2014 D-League at the time champions, the Fort Wayne Mad Ants. They won the league in 2014, the same year that TBT started, and the tournament was noticed by Fort Wayne Champs general manager Garrett Martz, who said, hey, we could put together a team and win this thing. As Charles Mann Jr. bottoms out for the second time from long range. And so the Fort Wayne TBT team has always been centered around that 2014 G-League championship, and it's starting to exchange buckets.
They had to change their name, though.
Yes.
Because when the Pacers bought the Mad Ants, then they said, you know what, wait a second, we don't want, obviously, the Mad Ants in the TBT. So, obviously, that's when Garrett, all of a sudden, he kind of took ownership in it. He started actually an agency to represent players. A number of his guys are actually playing on his team. But they have a very good team, and they have a purpose. Like, these guys have a shared experience. Their Mad Ants shared experience.
And that's a great point about the shared experience. And also, if you're a TBT historian, this Fort Wayne Champs team was known as Mad Ants alumni in its first 2 seasons in this tournament.
Do you have a Mad Ants shirt?
I wish I did. I don't get free stuff like you do.
You know, it's good getting free stuff. It really is. It is.
Off the front of the rim, and the rebound is tugged down by Ryan Brown.
See, when you're older than dirt, people feel sorry for you. They just give you stuff.
All right. Well, I'll keep working on that.
Yeah, eventually you'll get there.
If
Enjoy it while you last.
Jalen Nesbitt flips it out into the backcourt, and Logan McLean keeps it in Showtime hands. And it's Mavunga with a takeaway. Here's a 2-on-1. Ryan Brown glides in, and high off the window, it drops through.
Yeah, Ryan Brown, another Miami product. A multi-positional player, or as they say today, you're talking about positionless basketball, which the TBT is all about, positionless basketball.
Nesbitt got stripped, but that's a foul.
Nesbitt's a hard slashing dude. He played at North Florida for Matt Driscoll. Played on a very good basketball team that ended up making the NCAA tournament. We got some subs for Showtime. They'll go 9 deep.
I think both of these teams will. Charles Mann stays on the floor for Showtime. Cordarius Johnson is in the game for the first time for Showtime. He's got it now, along with big 6'11" Albert Jackson.
Big Albert played at Oak Hill Academy for the great Steve Smith.
3 more for TMJ. He's got 9.
He just looks totally comfortable, doesn't he?
Yes.
Like the game is at his own pace. It's never sped up. Just plays the next play. Trey McKinney Jones, he runs the floor, and when he runs the floor, you know what he can do? Pull up.
The basketball tournament is presented by Puma Basketball. Year number 6 for TBT, and the talent just keeps getting better and deeper across the country. 73 NBA players are scattered throughout the 64-team field this year. That means they're involved as either players, GMs, or coaches. If you're a big college basketball fan, we've got you covered in this tournament as well. 23 teams representing college teams and college alumni bases are not only in the tournament, but specifically in this regional, and 21 teams are playing in their first TBT ever. So it's a field that is growing, evolving, expanding.
I think the cool thing is you've got these alumni teams, and those guys you're talking about have a chance to put that uniform on one more time and have one of those what I call shared experiences where, you know, these guys probably, whether it's Marquette, whether it's the Bluegrass Boys, whomever it is, they had something really special and they missed it, and they get a chance to play in front of them. Think about Wichita. Wichita's going to be sold out every single session. That's absolutely insane. VCU, Ram Nation, Art the Siegel Center will be sold out every single session. So I love the alumni teams, but as much as the alumni teams, I love the teams that represent a cause. You know, Challenge ALS, Sideline Cancer, the V Foundation. I think that the thing about the TBT to me is it's more than just $2 million. It really is. Everyone is here for that purpose, but also maybe a larger calling. Going to get some trickeration out of the timeout here. Post up Jackson right there. Nice double.
Here's Laser, guarded by the 7-footer, Brandon Gilbeck. Pulled down by Fort Wayne's Matt Bolden, the former Gonzaga Bulldog. Mavunga in transition. Too strong.
Don't shoot it around Gilbeck. He led the country in blocked shots last year. Take it in the lane against that big fella. He'll send it home.
Surprised that Laser decided to pull the trigger at all over that guy. Laser about a foot shorter than Gilbeck.
Yeah, Gilbeck averaged 3.4 blocks a game. He was like a human backboard.
And the bank was never open either. The backboard was always closed.
He's an interesting player.
And that's one of the great aspects about this tournament as well, is that you get players like Brandon Gilbeck who have had great college careers but maybe haven't gotten the looks professionally that they think they deserve. This is a great showcase for players like that.
No doubt about it. And the guys have gone from the TBT to the NBA and signed contracts and played at a high level. So, I mean, it's a great opportunity.
Again, this Showtime team is one of 6 teams in the field that has been competing in TBT since the beginning.
Yeah, and when they first started, they were not very good. And they got better and better. Like Mike James, the kid who signed with Phoenix, he was the first two-way contract to ever sign a full-time contract.
That's right.
Little guard that can really, really handle the ball and make plays. It's got a lot of toughness.
And it's actually one of 4 teams, by the way, that have been competing in this tournament for all 6 years, going back to 2014. That foul, by the way, was on Travis Leslie, and it puts Charles Mann Jr. at the free throw line.
Yeah, Charles Mann Jr. and Trey McKinney Jones have led the way. I mean, Trey McKinney Jones 9 points in the first 5 minutes. Charles Matthews 7 points. Oh, I must be reading my Trey McKinney Jones has 9 here on my sheet.
Oh, you're right, but Charles Mann has got 7. As
yeah,
you said.
Charles Mann just scored a 7th and 8th point.
Yeah,
which is both of those guys have stepped up and made big plays. I'll tell you the interesting thing about the TBT. People are starting to try to steal overseas elites model. Team Hines right now. Team Hines is 100% looking at the model of what Overseas Elite did. Overseas players, tough players with maturity that know how to play, that have some experience, that aren't spoiled by the system. And Hines he's not a good player. He's might be the best low post scorer over in Europe, and that's how good he is. Kyle Hines played at UNC Greensboro.
Now let me play devil's advocate with you a little bit, because we know that Overseas Elite just shows up for this tournament without any practice time and starts winning games. So I don't think teams are copying that model.
No, there are teams, I mean, like Syracuse started training camp this week.
Yeah.
I mean, they're in training camp this week. No, but the thing about the overseas guys is because they play so much basketball, they practice twice a day, some teams. These guys have a very good understanding. Basketball offense in Europe is very universal in a lot of ways. It's built on spacing. It's built on spread ball screens. It's built on shooting the three. And these guys have really high basketball IQs.
Tyler Laser's got a high basketball IQ for Showtime. That's his first made field goal of the day. A 2-time league MVP in Bulgaria and Romania. And a player that Showtime's coaching staff is really excited about as you see him nearly go coast to coast. And that is a foul.
That's a charge. And you talk about what the TBT is all about. I say no marshmallows need apply. Check this out. In transition. Lasers push them. Watch Trey McKinney Jones get in position, step in, and take the charge. That's the TBT. 50-50 balls, take the charge, pursue balls out of your area, make the extra pass. The teams that win make the right basketball play. Really nice play defensively.
That's the 5th team foul on Showtime, so something to keep in mind as we enter the final minute of the first quarter.
How about Matt Bolden? He played last year with his alma mater, the Zach Straub, but now he's back with the Fort Wayne team. Gives him a little depth in the point guard position, experience, maturity. Looks like he's in pretty good shape.
And we talked about how many of these players for the Fort Wayne Champs have ties to the Fort Wayne Mad Ants G League Championship in 2014, and Bolden was actually the co-MVP of the finals.
He was a really good college player. I mean, he was WCC Player of the Year. I mean, that's what Mickey McConnell was. I mean, that Gonzaga team was really, really good. He's got a really nice floor game. He understands how to play, and he's got a little maturity. Looks like life has been good to him. Still want to play a little ball.
And he's still good at the free throw line, that's for sure. And it's coming back Fort Wayne's way.
This Fort Wayne team's got a little bit of everything. They've got a legitimate size. They've got a good feel. They've got shot makers, shot blockers.
5 turnovers for Showtime so far in the first quarter. Now keep your eye on the guy on defense right now, Neil Rasnick. He's one of the oldest players in this tournament, 42 years old.
Makes me feel good about myself.
You should be in this tournament playing.
I watched him warm up. I can guard him, I can tell you that much. But, hey, he played for the Roanoke Dazzle. Kent Davidson, the former coach of the Roanoke Dazzle, former longtime Garden City and junior college coach in Kansas, terrific guy, was an assistant coach at Georgia for Mark Fox. But the Roanoke Dazzle, they were big. They won a lot of games. There was only, I think, 6 teams in the league at that point. Guy loves ball. He shoots makes like 1,000 shots a day. I don't do that, Chris.
You don't?
No, I don't do that.
2,000. You're at 2,000.
No, I get out and I walk for an hour. I keep a hat on, and then all of a sudden I look like a guy that's walking around with a hat and a very white top of his head. What's that golfer? I look like Jim Furyk when he takes off his hat. A little better looking than Furyk. See, they're switching that ball screen, keeping it in front, a little versatility in their defense. And that's what I'm talking about. When you have experienced players, even though you haven't practiced, what are they doing? You hear really good communication right now. Oh, good drive right there by Charles Mann. Charles Mann's been really good for Showtime.
Been really good.
Charles Mann seeing a big gap, change of speed, change of direction, using his body. Charles Mann has been aggressive. He's had a terrific job of taking good shots. I'm really interested to see Fort Wayne. You talk about TBT. I would think they would go for one. I'm not sure. Do they have a play they can run? Or are they going to spread the floor? That'll be interesting to see what they decide to do. I expect the ball to be in Trey McKinney Jones's hands and let him go make a play. Starting to see a little blue show up here. The Big Blue Nation coming around. And Showtime, do they extend their defense and buy some time, or no, they're just going straight back?
So it's Bolden who brings it across half court. And there's the lob down to Levi Bradley, who's double-teamed and throws it behind the backboard, but he's going to the line.
Yeah, that was a lack of communication right there by Showtime. And Bolden with his head up, making the play. Watch right here. Bolden, head up, eyes on the rim. When your eyes on the rim, you see the floor. Bradley creating the contact, playing 2 contact.
Bradley is one of 3 2019 draft-eligible players on the Fort Wayne Champs roster, which is to say he just wrapped up his college career earlier this year. He was a standout at Northern Illinois.
Play for Mark Montgomery, Tom Izzo disciple at Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois's got a great, beautiful convocation center they play in. The MAC is a really good conference.
I was just going to say that. It really is. MAC is well represented in this game as well. We've got some Miami of Ohio on the floor, and there is a MAC team at TBT this year up in the Columbus Regional.
MAC, what do we call it? MACtion, right? MACtion. Got to have a little MACtion.
The hustle belt. 1 quarter in the books. Fort Wayne Champs lead Showtime 23-15. Smiles for Trey McKinney Jones. TheTournament.com is your place for all things TBT. We've got games across the ESPN networks this weekend and TBT's Week 2 regional competition from Wichita, Salt Lake City, Richmond, and Syracuse begin this coming Thursday afternoon at 3 Eastern. We're just at the tip of the iceberg here as it's game 1 of 4 to begin the Lexington Regional. Alongside Coach Seth Greenberg, my name is Chris Fosters. It's the 3-6 matchup to get us going. Here's what is coming up across TBT. And Seth, we're really excited for the next game in the Lexington Regional. The Loyalty is Love Hoopville Warriors matchup. Loyalty is Love, remember, that's the team fronted by DeMarcus Cousins.
Yeah, I mean, Boogie in the house. I mean, you think about what Boogie's accomplished here at Kentucky, but he's bringing a team. He's taking this general manager position seriously. He signed 6 former NBA players. Isaiah Austin, who played at Baylor, who had that Marfan syndrome but has been cleared to play. Pierre Jackson, maybe the best point guard in the TBT. He's got experience. He went and got a player from Evelyn Drive, Willis Reed. So that he's got a really talented team. Hey, Team Hines is really good. I'm just telling you. You watch that team. Nick Kalafis, remember that name?
Sure.
Not a good passer, great passer. Played for one of my former players, Reggie Cohn, Lake Howell High School. He is a dynamic passer. Speaking of that,
Matt Bolden with the no-look pass feeds the recent Wofford product, Cameron Jackson. And this is Fort Wayne's largest lead. Charles Mann Jr. is the leading scorer for Showtime. He gives it up to Logan McLean. That swirls out, and it's pulled down by Travis Leslie, another Georgia Bulldog. Levi Bradley off the heel. And it stays with Fort Wayne.
What do you do when you play the ball screen? Try to get 2 to play it. Bolden gets 2 to play him, finds the roller. Jackson does what he does. He's a hard roller, just like he did for Wofford, catch and finish. Bolden just had to play.
Weak side rebound, too strong by Bradley. You jinxed him.
He still knows how to play. Shot fake, eyes on the rim. Good long step. I think eventually, what nice slip right there. See, this is what I'm talking about, knowing how to play. And obviously, Mark Montgomery did a really good job with Bradley right there. And if you're a Tom Izzo disciple, you're going to understand as a screener, you're most times open. Bradley did a great job of slipping that screen. But what you're going to see is these guys have high basketball IQs because they've played so many games, they've prepared for so many games, they just know how to play. And as long as they're unselfish and share the basketball, good things happen.
3 more for Matt Bolden, and Seth, as you said, he's heating up.
Yeah, he's heating up, and it was a great pass by Jackson right there. Ball goes into the post, turn your head, bam, Bolden spots up, knocks down to 3. Just good, solid, fundamental basketball.
Charles Mann Jr. gets tied up, and he goes to the line.
Now watch it. The ball goes into post, right? Everyone moves to an open area. There's good post feed. Watch how patient Jackson is. Good backside crack screen on the backside right there by Bradley. Bolden slides down to the corner, knocks down to 3. I can tell Bolden's a veteran player. You know why?
Why?
Come on, take a guess. Come on.
He's a good passer.
No, I'll tell you why. Because he complained as soon as he got called on him. Yeah, one of those veteran guys. I was going to use the B word, but I wasn't sure we could use it.
Better safe than sorry.
Yeah, better safe than I like being employed. But I mean, he never fouls. That's just the way it is. Veteran guys, they never foul. Huh? Me? I foul? No, I don't foul. You can mug a guy and act like he didn't get fouled. Little screen to screener coming here. Boom, here's a screen to screener. Did a good job of getting through it. Really good defensively. Everyone's keeping in front. Good
Laser.
Job of Laser with getting in the lane. Good call.
Fort Wayne foul number 42, Levi Bradley, his second.
Foul number 2 on Levi Bradley of Fort Wayne.
I think they're making a Showtime uniform for you, I think.
I'd love it.
I think you'd be big, summertime. You're in Chicago, right?
Yeah.
Walking around Chicago with the popcorn shorts. It'd be big.
Yeah, the red stripes, I like that.
People would think you're an Indiana fan.
I know. This is a little more red than the true crimson for the Hoosiers, but definitely it looks Indiana-inspired. Bad pass, and it eventually lands in the hands of Julian Mavunga.
Showtime really having a hard time generating offense, making anyone get in the lane. I thought Fort Wayne's been really solid.
Rebound pulled down by Jalen Nesbitt of Showtime off the Gary Talton miss, and there's a turnover. Levi Bradley nearly had his pocket picked. No whistle.
Levi, this is the TBT, man. This isn't the MAC. Get up and play, bro.
Nesbitt. Fade away. Richmond with the rebound and the stick back.
Yeah, he can score now. I'll tell you what, Richmond can make shots, and he can shoot it deep. Game's got a little raggedy. Shot selection's got to improve for Showtime. They're playing faster than their abilities.
Timeout on the floor with Fort Wayne ahead 30-19. So I remember you said that Showtime would need to focus on its shot selection in particular. In the first quarter, you said that, and only 19 points, a quarter plus in. It's got to be better, right?
Yeah, they've got to take better care of basketball. They've got to. The problem they have is they have no one who can just go make a play and get in the lane and get a paint touch to move the defense. They have had a hard time getting any type of splits and getting paint touches. So now all of a sudden, the defender is standing right in front of you, right? Staying between you and the ball and the basket. They're shooting all contested shots right now.
Mavunga lowers the shoulder right into Albert Jackson. Wild shot comes down to Akeem Richmond. He blows by Talton.
And that's what they need. They get out in transition with numbers, advantage, disadvantage, but then they got to get back.
Travis Leslie burns Showtime's defense on the other end.
See, it's great that they got in the lane. He took my Richmond. He took it baseline to baseline, got in the lane, scores a layup. But you know, you got to have floor balance. Defensive transition. When you haven't played with a group a number of different times, defensive transition is the key. You got to communicate. You got to get back. You got to have floor balance.
That was another no-look pass.
It's like Magic Bolden.
Bradley with that lefty release. Can't get it to go. That's a travel on Tyler Laser. 8 turnovers for Showtime.
Yeah, those turnovers are a byproduct of just playing too fast. Here's a little horns action, 2 high screens, a little roll.
Tough shot, rebound to Jackson of Showtime.
Now, Showtime's missing Lee Skinner, who is basically the heart and soul of their team. A guy with great leadership skills, experience. He's played in 5 TBTs, and a guy that just really kind of reflects what Showtime's all about. They are really struggling shooting the ball right now.
And Lee Skinner, we wish him nothing but the best. A family emergency kept him out of TBT this year. And so we certainly hope that everything is okay. Mavunga.
Mavunga's guy, he's like a Swiss Army knife. He does a little bit of everything. Shoots a 3, gets in the lane, passes it, rebounds the ball. He's an active defender.
He had a really good TBT last year. Mavunga averaged 17 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists for Fort Wayne last year. And Fort Wayne champs 3-game run to the Super 16. Now, there is no Super 16 this year in TBT. They've structured it a little bit differently.
It's cool. You got 8 regions. Basically, you get right to the Elite 8.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting thing. And, you know, I mean, this is an opening round game. We've got 3 other games going on as we speak right now. So the TBT is in full swing. You're going to talk about the end of this weekend. You're going to have 4 teams, regional winners. And the great thing about the tournament is right there, the bracket. The opportunity to slap your name and your team into the next round.
You might be familiar with the tradition now at the NCAA tournament.
They stole it.
They did. They did. That was originated here by TBT.
Unbelievable. They stole it.
That fouls on Brandon Gilbeck. And there is the bracket that Seth was talking about.
Love the bracket.
And Fort Wayne's loving TBT. Things are looking up for the champs in this opening round game.